Hello, my name is Ari Berman and I am the Medical Director for Seal Rock Healthcare. Emily Deladorna and I work for Southern Maine Geriatric Associates and are the primary care providers for the patients at Seal Rock. I am here to talk to you about the coronavirus vaccine. Now, at the end of this discussion, I would be happy to speak with you further at any time. I know that many of you have my contact information, but if you don't, feel free to ask the nursing supervisor or anyone in the administration and just give me a call. I would be happy to talk. Now, as you know, we are going through a very difficult time here at Seal Rock with COVID-19. This outbreak continues to grow despite all measures put in place to contain it. It certainly seems that once coronavirus gets into a congregate living facility, it is extremely difficult to contain. Now, yesterday, I did develop a sense of hope. I received the coronavirus vaccine into my left arm at St. Mary's Hospital in Lewiston. Now, as you can see, I have not yet turned into a frog. I am actually hoping for a side effect. I'm hoping to get fatigue, as I've had many sleepless nights over the past few weeks, and I expect many more to come until this coronavirus pandemic at Seal Rock is complete. Now, I want to talk to you more about vaccination, as I do understand that there is questions and many of you are hesitant to get this. Now, a history of the vaccination. In my opinion, from a public health perspective, I consider the vaccine the greatest medical innovation of all time. Just think about it. From 1900 to 1979, 300 million people died from smallpox. It is eliminated today. And polio too. And many other infectious diseases which we do see today have been greatly reduced, including diphtheria, Haemophilus influenza, hepatitis A, hepatitis B, mumps, measles, rubella, pneumococcus, chickenpox, shingles. They've all been greatly reduced. Truly, from a public health perspective, aside from clean water, sanitation, and the development of antibiotics, vaccines can be considered one of the world's great achievements. Now, I think we can all agree that this virus, which our immune system has never before seen, has ravaged the United States and the world with a particular target on the frail elderly. In the United States alone, there have been 800,000 cases of nursing home residents and over 100,000 deaths. There have also been hundreds of thousands of healthcare workers who have suffered the consequences of being infected with COVID. Now, as healthcare providers and community members, it is our responsibility to do everything we can in our power to protect our residents, our community members, our families, and ourselves. We are now very fortunate to have multiple vaccines available. This is a very exciting time. Now, as I said, I understand from speaking with many of you that many are fearful or hesitant to get the vaccine. You've asked for more information and you want a trusted source. I understand. I know there are questions regarding trust, regarding big pharma, the government. You have trouble believing a vaccine could be produced so quickly and that we could understand that it is safe both in the short term and in the long term. There are questions about whether a vaccine could give you the coronavirus. Traditionally, vaccines have been live attenuated viruses, which are a weakened virus, or a killed virus, or a purified protein derivative. Now, the purpose of a vaccine is to trigger your immune system to develop an antibody response should you eventually be exposed to the virus or bacteria in question. Previously, vaccines have been grown in animal eggs. The coronavirus vaccine is a new technology. This is an mRNA vaccine. It is developed in a laboratory. Now, mRNA has been studied in universities and pharmaceutical companies for several decades. It has recently been used to develop vaccinations against Ebola and the original SARS. It is also used in the field of immuno-oncology, targeting specific cancer cells for destruction and therapeutics. The mRNA vaccine does not use animal products or eggs to grow it in, as prior vaccines do. It does not have typical preservatives. It is basically composed of mRNA, which is a genetic code, and lipid proteins. Both are natural to the body and are much less likely to trigger an anaphylactic response. This will not integrate into your DNA. Now, this mRNA vaccine works by, you get the vaccine in your muscle, it will then enter into the cell. It will be encoded into a protein which mimics the protein found on the surface of the coronavirus. This protein is otherwise known as an antigen. Now, when the body recognizes this protein or antigen as foreign, it will develop an immune response or antibodies against the protein. So if and when you are actually exposed to the coronavirus, your body's immune system will already be primed and prepared to actively destroy the virus. Now, as you can see, this vaccine was made rather quickly. It's also adaptable, and viruses mutate. So, over the course of the next several years, as this coronavirus will mutate, it will be possible to develop a new vaccine which will be able to target the new antigen. Historically, most side effects from vaccines have occurred in the first 6 weeks. Both Pfizer and Moderna are both using mRNA vaccines. They both had trials of between 30 and 50,000 people, and each vaccine trial lasted for at least 8 weeks. When the FDA evaluated the vaccine trials, safety was the #1 determinant of whether or not they would approve this vaccine. Of course, they were also interested in efficacy, and both of these vaccines were determined to have excellent efficacy. There was no political motive in approving this vaccine. I have full faith that the FDA reviewed all pertinent information and approved this vaccine to be safe and given to all of us. It is shown to be 95% effective against COVID. Of 100,000 patients, only one had a severe case of COVID. That is remarkable compared to what we are seeing right now. Now, at present, you need 2 doses of the vaccine. I got my first dose yesterday. In approximately 2 weeks, I will have 50% immune response. The second dose will be given 3 weeks from now. 2 weeks after that, or 5 weeks from today, I should be at peak immunity. Now, as I said, this vaccine cannot give you coronavirus. It is not a live or weakened virus. There are side effects which may make you seem like you have the flu. And this is your body making an immune response against the protein. And that, a lot of times, is what makes you feel sick. So some of the side effects you may get are muscle site pains. You can also develop myalgias, fever, fatigue. Now in Europe, there were several people who were found to have an anaphylactic reaction to the vaccine. As a result, each vaccination station will be equipped with healthcare providers who can recognize anaphylaxis and will be available on site to treat it with use of an EpiPen and Benadryl. This is a rare condition, but it is highly treatable. Now, if you are a person who has developed severe anaphylaxis at one time in your life to anything, you should speak to me or your healthcare provider about whether or not this vaccine is safe for you. There have not been specific studies with pregnant or lactating women. If you are pregnant or lactating, it would be best to speak to your OBGYN physician whether or not this vaccine is safe to you. With regards to your immune status, if you are severely immunocompromised, such as HIV or active leukemia, it would be important to discuss the safety of the vaccine with your primary care infectious disease physician or oncologist. It is very clear that our patient population with frailty and chronic organ disease, such as heart disease, lung disease, kidney disease, diabetes, or dementia would greatly benefit from this vaccination. Now, after this vaccination, you will still need to wear a mask, both in the community and at Seal Rock. Life will not immediately change for us. However, have faith. If we all do this together, our lives will come back to normal. It will take the community, but we can get there. I am looking forward to it. As I said at the beginning, I would be more than happy to discuss this with you at any time. I wish you and your family a happy holidays.